All right, hello and welcome to Second Sunday, just after the storm. Today I want it to be, my intention for today is that you leave here feeling so damn excited about your life and about your world that when you leave here today, you're not only constructing a plan for your future, but you are complete understanding of everything that has gone on and will continue to go on for the next 2 years. So, how was that election for everyone? Okay,
So fun.
well, if you have my perspective, it was a lot of fun. I mean, the day of the election, it was a little uncomfortable, tapping into the collective anxiety and the fear and the worry and the stress and the excitement for some. That was all impeding that night, and even our house was a little chaos. The kids were running a little bit more of a muck than normal, and we could just feel the temperature of everything kind of rising. And as the finale approached, right, what we did technically is we shifted timelines. We shifted into a parallel reality where there is a new choice, that there is a new future, and there is a new journey to embark on. Because up until this point, for the last year, we have been in disbelief. We have been in the searching and the asking and the what's going to happen. And that energy, if you've ever been in mystery about anything in your life, it is one of the worst places that you can be. Wouldn't you rather just know? And when you don't know, and when you're deciding, what do you do with the stock market? What do you do with your money? What do you do with, with your life? What do you do with your kids? And you're kind of watching these timelines of what you thought your country felt and looked like shift into an alternative perspective. A lot of us were left confused. A lot of us were left emotionally zapped from the experience. Now, whichever side of the fence that you were hoping would happen, as far as the candidate that was chosen, I will tell you that the candidate that was chosen was the perfect candidate for this planet's awakening. Let's all breathe. And the reason why is because last Second Sunday, I dove in and explained that the two candidates that held the most attention and the most funding were honestly just a part of our ego construct. We've got the perpetrator, we've got the victim, we've got the passive-aggressive, we've got the suppressive, and we've got the in-your-face bully, don't we? And these are all aspects of your ego. Which is exactly why, as we are moving into an ascension, that we would project our own darkness into light. And just, matter of fact, put them on the stage. And let them duke it out. It was like watching child warfare for a year, wasn't it? And what we did is we saw two people go back and forth with no one's best interest in mind except their own. And what that looked like to me was two aspects of our divine and masculine ego at war. So to me, it was art. It was where I got to find the Trump within me. It was where I got to find a Hillary within me. And I was just talking to Kara before Second Sunday, and 46% of the population didn't even vote. 26% of the population voted outside of who you would have expected. So really, what that looked like was only a third of this country interacted with any of this anyways. So when you say, I'm disappointed in America, what you're saying, honestly, is I'm disappointed in 3% of this country. That's really it. And we had to elect who we needed to elect in order for us to shine the greatest amount of light within our own darkness. Two things are going to happen from this election. The people that are really excited are going to follow that excitement. The people who are really upset are going to find their power within and say, I can do this better myself. And that is what I'm seeing with a lot of people who are not awakened right now, is they are becoming awakened by this process. This is the shift that we've been waiting for spiritually for a really long time. We're in Neptune right now, which is going to be the force that's going to pull us together. And during the next hour and a half, I'm going to take you through some numerology, I'm going to take you through some astrology, and I'm going to show you how perfectly divine this moment in time is for each and every one of you guys to stand up and follow purpose. A lot of times, our pain is what births our purpose. And if you look back over your life, a lot of your catalysts have not been comfortable, have they? They've been the uncomfortable catalyst. The woman who gets breast cancer and then takes back her health and her life. And she goes on a mission and then she starts teaching about it. How is this any different? This is just a catalyst. This is not something that defines you or your country. Because you know what? There is no country. There is just planet Earth. There is no separation about who we are in this country. We are human beings, and we are here to heal this planet the fastest way possible. I will tell you, by electing Trump, I'm sorry, I have a hard time saying Trump, we have sped up the timelines about 3.5 years by putting him in office. And the reason why is because it's so blatant, in-your-face ignorance. And I will tell you though, from a life coaching perspective and someone who lives quantum mechanics, 5D manifestation comes from one word: deserving. If you believe you deserve it, you can create it. Now, if there's anybody on this planet with an ego big enough, that would be Trump, right? He totally believes intuitively that he deserves it, and he manifested his reality in front of all of you, didn't he? He believed that he deserved it. And when I teach 5D money and 5D manifestation, deserving is number 1 on the list. He deserved it. The universe doesn't care if you're a good person or if you're a bad person, what your alternative motives are. It cares if you believe you deserve it. And that's what he showed you. So welcome, life, to your new spiritual teacher, President Trump. He is your spiritual teacher for as long as he remains in office, and that, I will tell you, the timeline is itty-bitty. As soon as enough of us flip the scale and move into owning that we can self-govern, owning that we can completely take control of our futures and move into purpose, we no longer need to be governed. We will be self-governed, which is exactly why we needed to elect the greatest part of our ego onto the center stage so we can see where we as a collective have been vibrating. We chose this on a collective scale to reflect back to us exactly who we've been and who we've been suppressing. Because there's a bully within each and every one of us. And the person that we've been bullying our entire life is ourselves. And there is a bigot in each and every one of us. And we have been a bigot against ourselves. Does this make sense? So I'm going to give you guys a little numerology to catch you up and really seal this concrete information that everything in the universe is arriving right on time. This country is 270 years old. 2 + 7 = 9. Completion. Okay? 2016. Completion. This is not random. This country has had 34 7-year cycles. Now, if you study any of my work, I talk all about the 7-year cycles and how we move from self-awareness to self-mastery in 7 years repeatedly throughout the course of our spiritual journey. This country is in the 34th 7-year cycle. 3 + 4 = 7. So, right now, where we are as a collective is we're done. We're done with the construct that we need anyone outside of us to help us with our own individual power. That we need a government to tell us what we can do and what we cannot do. Because this election will allow us to prove ourselves for the first time in history. We have the opportunity now to prove ourselves, don't we? Because what we did is we elected someone who we, at the end of the day, know we could do a better job. We know that we could do a better job. And so knowing that allows us to step up and find our own confidence and our own power within our purpose. And so as we embark over the next few years, and there's 2 to be exact, there's 2 years left in this development, okay, in this process back to self-love. Because in 2 years, we will be in the 5th year of the 7-year cycle, and that is self-love. So I'm going to show you guys what the 7-year cycle looks like so that you can see exactly precisely where this country is. Because right now, this country is in self-discovery. We are discovering ourselves. We are discovering where we gave our power away. We're discovering where our power centers are. And since 2011, we activated the ascension process, which began in the root chakra. The root, survival, childhood, financial repression, right? False identity of self resides in our root chakra. We have been clearing that out since 2011. And over the last couple of years, we have been working really overtime as a collective, because your collective has 7 chakras, just like you do. And here's that number 7 again. 7 chakras. Right now, we are moving into solar plexus. Solar plexus is your power center, which means over the last 3 years, we have been clearing out sacral energy, which is sexual repression. Okay? It is creative repression. It is power repression. And we're starting to take notice of what's been going on in our country, which has been going around the whole time, 270 years, this repression. And now we're starting to show up, aren't we? Standing Rock is a perfect example of us showing up. That's all we got to do. Be all in and show up. Because your coordinates lie deep within your DNA, and you know exactly who you are. But they are not opened up within you until your fire is ignited. How many of you had your fire ignited this week? All of you, in some form or another. It was the conversation that you needed to have. It was the final decision. You know what? I've had enough. You know, people said they were going to all move to Canada, right? Yeah. Frank just moved from there. What did he get himself into? So what I'm saying is as we embark in self-discovery on our 7-year cycle right now, what that means is that it is time to discover your power. It is time to discover why you are on this planet, and use the anger or the excitement, it doesn't matter, because both are extremely powerful frequencies, to propel you into the next 2 years. Because in the next 2 years, we are going to see the divine feminine come back with a fierce vengeance. And vengeance is that power word, because there is nothing like a woman on fire. And I don't mean women, I mean that divine, feminine, creative, nurturing, loving energy. Because that's what we're going to need, believe it or not, to take our power back. Now, a lot of us thought that if Hillary got in office, she would do that for us, didn't we? We thought that she could do that for us, because we've all been feeling this divine feminine power rushing through us. But again, a false idol sets you back longer on your personal journey, doesn't it? When you need anyone to look to rescue you, to save you, you are the superhero that you seek. You're the soulmate you seek. You are here to rescue yourself from your own mind, because your mind is the only thing that stands in the way of taking ownership of everything you are within. So the mind is really programmed to needing help. Right? You came in, you were 1 year old, you felt on fire, powerful, and someone told you, don't be that. Be this. And then in your mind, you found false idol. You found God in mom and dad. You found God in your religion. You found God everywhere outside of you except here. And so what has happened is this country, this planet has abandoned itself. And when we abandon ourselves, then we need someone else to do it for us, and I like to call that word entitlement. That is the word where I need someone else to be the light for me so that I may find my way home. You didn't come here for that. You came here to be in the complete darkness so you can activate your own light and walk yourself home and show others the way. Be brave so you can show others how to be brave. Be mighty so you can show other people how to be mighty. Feel sad so you can make it safe for others to feel sad. Because what you're here to do is you're here to experience the whole human journey, not just the great points. Not just the happy points, not the loving points. You came to experience all of it in the course of your lifetime. Which means the hell that you survived through got you to heaven. 2016, the year of manifestation. You've manifested a lot this year, haven't you? We've manifested a lot. Time is speeding up, which means you think it shows up a lot quicker. Now we have to be more discerning in our now moment, which means we've got to be present because we're creating. We're creating like crazy in this moment. And so when you're not present, you're creating by default in a fast energy that is 5D manifestation. So whatever you believe you deserve, there's that word, you will have. And if you don't believe that you deserve what you need, then you will have that. Is this making sense?
Yes.
So as we go on this journey, what this time, this astrology, this numerology is showing is that we are coming to a close of this particular chapter in history, in our minds, in our belief systems. And whatever catalyst you need in this moment to be the greatest opportunity for growth for yourself, that is what you need to milk. That is what you need to follow. Because there's nothing that creates change faster than anger and frustration. And also, there's nothing that creates change faster than excitement. So those particular frequencies are your fast track, because we shifted into a different timeline with this election. Whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. What happened is this country made a choice. And every time you make a choice, that is an intention. Intention, to be in, all in. Which means, regardless of the outcome, this is what we chose. Now, what are we going to do with it? How are we going to use this to formulate and create our reality into heaven on earth? That's your only job right now. If you're pissed, be pissed. If you're sad, be sad. If you're excited, be happy. And follow that intention into becoming who you've always known you are, because there are coordinates deep within you that are going to be activated. Last Second Sunday, I said it's going to be like a light switch gets turned on. And I cannot tell you how many people who have come up to me in the last couple of weeks who are not metaphysical, who are not spiritual, who are not on their journeys, and said, you know what? This election, I'm selling my house and I'm getting a farm and I'm doing a retreat for special needs.
Yes.
Because that's how mad I am. And I said, this is why we elected Trump. Because you're going to get so mad that you're going to say, screw it.
Yes.
I'm going off grid. I'm going out of here. I'm going to go do this. And I don't care anymore because this doesn't honor me.
Yes. Yes.
And you know what? I got to see that for 3 weeks in a row. And I went, yes, this is exactly why we've come. And now that you guys who are aware on your journey, teaching, healing, right, messaging for this planet, where do you fall into this category? Because the people who are not awake are honestly owning it. They're selling their house, they're getting a tiny home, they're opening up communities. They're doing it because they are unhappy with what's happening. What are you doing? Because you hold a higher frequency, you hold a higher level of awareness, which means that you actually have more responsibility, don't you? You can't unknow what you know. You can't be on this journey and forget. It's too painful. It'll end up biting you big time in the behind. So, what are we going to do with it? Because this is where we're at. If you've been hearing me teach lately, I'm saying if you're a teacher, teach. If you're a healer, heal. If you have any inspiration to do anything, don't think, just do. Because right now, it won't make sense, but in the coming weeks, it will make total sense. Which means that if you have the desire to go volunteer, go do it. Because what that's going to do is it's going to clear out the rest of your old belief systems about you're not deserving, and you're not worthy, and you're different, blah, blah, blah. Because you're in a leadership position. You are the new superheroes because you've been doing this work longer. Doesn't mean you're more special. It just means you've been doing this work longer, and you've gone through the pitfalls, and you've gone through the lion's dens, and you've been aware for that, haven't you? Because they've all been doing that too, but they haven't been aware of that. You have been aware of that, and you have tools, and you have support, and you have yourself. Because this group of people who is going to take the leadership into the next 2 years so that we may reach self-love as a collective needs to start with you. Which means that where you all need to be right now, including myself, is in an understanding of self-love for self. What does that mean? That means that the world could be collapsing in front of me and I would still be fine. That I could go to my family's Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks and not drop that down into complete ignorant behavior. That means I have pulled out of the collective agreement, pulled out of the matrix to have my own experience. That's what that means. You have the ability to unplug. You have the ability to see your circumstances is just form you created last week, which means your circumstances are only a byproduct of last week's thinking. You know that. You have these tools. You know you create reality. And I hope that this year has taught you how fast at creating your reality. Because we've been studying this stuff since, I don't know, the 40s. And we've been aware of it even longer with Tesla's work. And the truth of it is now we're starting to prove it to ourselves. We are starting to prove to us, the messengers, the sheep herders, that we are the ones who really do create our reality. Because we've been teaching it to people for the last 15 years. But now we're starting to really understand that. And as we understand that, we can utilize and harness that power to really show others. So this is your time. This is our time to come together and collaborate the new world. Which means the new communities, the new housing, the new money, the new food. This all needs to come into place, and guess who is going to be in that leadership position? It's us. We are the Christ consciousness energy, which is defined as unconditional love, which means we love Chomp, don't we?
Yes.
We love him for the gifts. We love him for the kick in the butt. We love him for what he's not going to do for us. We love him what he's going to show us about ourselves. And we can find unconditional love in that. And if we can do that, then we can do anything. Right?
Yes.
So let's take a breath. And find your clarity point in this. Regardless of what your ego is holding on to in this moment, find a clarity for yourself. Find that personal power center, which is in your solar plexus, that makes you feel like you can move mountains, and that you're unlimited, and you're unstoppable, and you're unbreakable. Because life's tried to break you your whole life. And here you sit. And here you show up day after day after day helping others. You are unbreakable. And you're undefinable, which means that in a moment you can create whatever you choose about yourself because you didn't come here with a personality, you came here with an idea. And with that idea, you decided to add those personalities that soon got in your way, didn't they? But it's time for us all to go back to that 0 point of love. Love without conditions. Which means you're not here to fight your belief systems anymore. You're here to recognize belief systems in others and find a way to love them around their belief systems. If they can't hear what you're saying about this election or about where we're going or about the new world, you know what you can do? You can hug them. Because love is the universal language that speaks to ignorance, it speaks to poverty, it speaks to wealth, and it is the one energy that is every single language. Which means that I could go anywhere on this planet and look at someone who doesn't look like me and does not speak my language, and if I saw them smile, I would know how they were feeling. If I saw them cry, I would know how they were feeling. That is all we need in this moving forward. We need to use our empathy to help others wherever they are on their journey. It isn't your job to judge where they are. It isn't your job to judge the level of ignorance that they are within. It is your job to recognize it, observe it, and then figure out how to love them in their language. Which means, how do you love ignorance? How do you love a bully? Well, I'll show you how you love a bully. A bully was bullied. Hurt people hurt people. So if you can find the wounded child within your greatest nemesis, you will find a way to love that child, won't you? I will tell you your greatest nemesis is you. You are at war with yourself this whole life, and then we projected it outside of ourselves and created war out there. We created false idols, we created government, we created all these things as a reflective component to see ourselves perfectly. Because your reality is your guru. Everything that you project outside of you is a reflection of what is going on within. You cannot experience anything outside of you that you didn't create. Because it is your hologram and it is your universe. There is nothing outside of you. So if you put someone in office you didn't like, I would look within and say, what was that about? What did I want to learn about myself that I couldn't see because it was in a blind spot back here buried very deep in suppression that I needed to basically push out in front of myself in a reflective object called the president. Wow, I'm seeing myself very clearly right now. And maybe you cannot completely find every aspect of these people within you, but there is a shadow deep within you that has the same energy as what you're seeing outside of you. It's reflection, projection, which means I'm going to reflect my darkest secrets about myself and they're going to project their story onto me so that I may have a feedback system in my reality because all I am is a biological computer that is here with high level of consciousness downloading data for an experience. So, does this make sense? Because if you can accept it and you can own this, as far as what you did to contribute to this choice, right? And you can find some aspect of yourself that maybe you weren't governing, that you were bullying within yourself, an aspect of yourself where you were still in separation or segregation. If you can find an aspect of yourself that still wanted someone else to come and rescue you, then that is how you contributed to this election. Because I definitely had to take stock and ownership of that myself. And as I looked at that, I said, thank you. Because what this did is it shortened the timeline so much faster. I'm sure President Trump right now is at home on Google, Googling, what does a president do? And orange is the new black, right? Because we have to make fun of this. And so right now, why don't you guys get on Google and type in, what does a superhero do? Okay? What is a superhero? It is someone who has gone through extreme struggles and still fought for others. Is that us? Right? Because that's who we are. We have come here to experience everything that humanity could possibly experience so we could download the experience and learn what is called human compassion. And when we learn human compassion, now we know what it feels like to be lost and scared and alone and in fear and in grief. We understand what humans feel when they feel guilt and humiliation and shame and fear. And if we had not gone through and downloaded the experience for ourselves, we wouldn't know how to help people. We wouldn't know what people needed in this time. We wouldn't have been on the other side of the bigotry or the other side of the ignorance at some point in our lives to have compassion, because compassion is an empathetic understanding of someone else's journey. And that is what you innately came in with, is the ability to be compassionate. You also came in with the innate ability that you are here for joy, which means anytime you are not in joy, you are not honoring yourself. You are not exposing the greatness within you, are not being the lighthouse that you came to be, so you could show others the way home. And so when you deny yourself of anything, what you're doing is you're actually become part of the problem. You are only part of the solution when you are completely in your authentic purpose. And your authentic purpose is to love and to be loved. And anything else that is in accordance with that is the only reason you came. You didn't come for the job, you didn't come for the house, you didn't come for the car, you came for the experience of abundance, freedom, and love. And ego defined all of that with the house and the car and the trophy wife and all these things. But that's never why you came. You came for the frequency experience, which means, what is the frequency of love? What does your body feel like when you're in love? Do you feel alive when you're in love? When else does your body feel alive? When you're angry, right? When you're sad? When you're confused? We feel alive. And that's actually what we came to, is to experience what being alive could be, because we could never die. We're completely immortal. So to even have the experience of what life feels like was extremely exciting for us to experience. And so it's important that where you are right now in your journey, that you look back and you see the different stages of your awakening, and you drop into compassion for where this planet is. And know that 2 years ago, who were you? Well, maybe who you were 2 years ago is the guy that's at the bank yelling about the election. Maybe you can find yourself in that guy right now and say, what did I need 2 years ago? You know what I needed 2 years ago? Help, support, unconditional friendship, unconditional love, someone to collaborate with so I didn't feel like I was doing it all by myself. And so that's who we can be for these people who are where we were 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 years ago. Because consciousness is a language. And when you raise your consciousness, people cannot understand you if their consciousness isn't at the same frequency as you. And that's not something for you to judge. Because as a spiritual being, you are not here to judge. And if you are judging, that is your ego. So if you're saying, okay, this guy cannot understand me, I'm talking about love and light, and and then you move into judgment, you are actually part of the problem. So what you have to say is, okay, I'm speaking a language that someone else is not understanding. What is the universal language that I have at my fingertips right now? Love. A joke. Did you see how much you lightened up during that little joke process? Right? It's all true, by the way. And you lighten up. Laughter, love, excitement, joy, creation. What do you want to create from this? Who do you want to be in a year from now because of this? Because it's really time, as we move into the solar plexus energy, that we start making some serious intentions for ourselves. And the intentions are, who do I choose to be? What will my voice be? What will I leave behind when I'm gone? What is my legacy? Is my legacy complaining and victimization and segregation and worry and doubt? Or is my legacy that I left 555 people happy in my wake? Because by hugging anyone, you're activating that heart center. And you know how powerful you are, because when you're in joy, you're affecting the masses by just being joyful. Does this make sense? And I know I say this every second Sunday, but we're just now really owning the fact that we create a reality, even though we've been studying it for 45, 50 years. So why we have to keep repeating these things over and over and over again is because at some point, this will become unconscious. In TICA, which is my Transcendence International Consciousness Academy that I do all over the world, for the last couple of weeks, we've been spending a lot of time in the I Ams. And talking about the power of the I Am, which goes along with the book that I'm about to release. And what it is it's a breakdown, very simple breakdown of the 3 aspects of you. For so long, we have been hearing it's mind, body, soul, right? We've been very familiar with that concept. Well, there isn't anyone outside of you. So what I like to call it is the me, myself, and I. The me is my ego. Think about it. It's me. What's happening to me? Is it for me? You see how little I got? The myself is the body construct. This belongs to me. Myself. Okay? And the I is the I am, which is the one. Now if we go back to me and we held a mirror over it, you would see the reflection, and underneath it, it would say we. Me and we, which means I am here and the rest of everyone is separate from me. The myself is something I believe is outside of myself. Myself. But the I, there's just one. It's unity. It's one, which means there is no we, there is no me, there is just I. And so when you say I am, what you are saying to the universe is that you are whatever, fill in the blank. And that is an intention that goes to the universe, right back to yourself, and reflects instantly, which is the greatest intention you can ever speak into existence. And so as we break down these 3 components of yourself, you can see for a really long time it's been about you, hasn't it? Which is the me. It's been about we. It's been about myself. And I'll tell you a secret about your body, and if you've listened to any of my podcasts or followed any of my work in the last year, you know how intensely I talk about healing the body of its memory of the me. Because the body has forgotten that you are the I. And to really activate and open up all of your DNA and all of your superhero abilities and all of your intuition, you cannot be in the presence of me. You have to be in the I am in order to accept that purpose. And the cells of your body are faithful servants. And when you speak, you are the voice of God to your body. When you say anything to your body is a faithful servant that will take any command at the second you give it. Now do you see why we had to elect Chomp? Because we've been saying all of this negativity to our bodies this whole time, and our bodies have adapted to the me. That's why our bodies get anxiety and worry when things don't go our way, because we need someone else outside of us to fix it, and our body's letting us know we believe that. Our body's letting us know we believe that we need someone else. When you're in the I am, do you need anyone? Do you need anyone to tell you they love you? No, because you are love. There is nothing that you need to hear. There is no healing that needs to take place. I talked in class about if we could all move into the I am, there would be no more shadow work, there would be no processing, there would be no healing. It would be instant moving into divine greatness of one. But because our bodies have been playing this program over and over and over again, pick your age, fill in the gap, that's how long you've been running these programs, the cells are more accustomed to who you've been. So what's happening is your cells are being triggered by all this energy in this planet right now of, what about me? What's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to us? What's going to happen to we? Instead of saying, I am here to change the world. I am here to heal the world. I am here to be deserving. See the difference? You can see my energy field expand or contract based on what I'm saying. And so your self-talk has everything to do with your myself, which is the body. Let me ask you, who is navigating that myself right now? Is it the me or is it the I am? Because if it's the I am, you will be in the shape that you want to be in physically. You will be craving the food that your body needs. You will not have pain in your body because all pain in your body is absence of higher self. That's it. That's all diseases, dis-ease, a body that's not at ease with its internal program. Which means that the ego has been running this body, and this body has become a faithful servant to the loudest voice that it hears. So if the me is very loud and the I am is very subtle, then the body will adapt accordingly, because all your body is a hologram of your mind. It's a biography of your mind. And it is there again to project to you how you believe you are. The body is the only thing you technically own while you're here. And if you're going to be here, who would you like to be running your body? Who would you like to be running your country? Does this make sense? It makes perfect sense to me, but I'm just saying. And so I wanted to leave you with that, because when you walk out today, I want you to remember that the I am is the only way out. We don't get out with we. We don't get out with me. We get out with the I am. And when the I ams come together, they just make one. Okay? So, let's do some questions. Do we have questions?
So, in my sessions, a lot of things that come up. There's a lot of people that with a lot of stereotypically masculine energy. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about this new goddess energy or divine feminine energy, what's that really going to look like, or should it look like for us, and what's our kind of role going to be?
You mean men?
Yes.
Okay.
We're people with just masculine energy.
Right. Okay, so Great question, because we are studying a lot in Tika right now about this goddess energy that's going to be rolling big time in for 2017. And what that means is it doesn't mean that, women are just going to get really freaky and just start doing crazy things. Because when we, although that would be fun. But what that means actually is when we look at divine feminine, what does divine feminine represent? Divine feminine represents creativity. Okay? And the masculine energy basically represents action. So we've got feminine, which is emotion, and we've got masculine, which is action. And so the planet has been action-driven for a really long time. I remember when in my marriage, I would come home and I'd be like emotional, and he would just want to move into action. And what do I need to do to fix this? Whose ass do I need to kick right now? And I said, no, I just need you to feel this with me. Oh, I don't know how to do that. So that's exactly what this is going to look like, is we're going to go on a feeling journey together, and the men are going to move into more of a feeling place, and the women are going to take center stage into the nurturing and creative aspect of our future, which means that we are going to create the new world, and because our divine feminine energy is so nurturing, we'll be able to last it, which means masculine is like short, adventure, like just get it done, action. So what we'll do is we'll create it, and the masculine energy will put it into form, which is exactly why we've been doing so much sexuality training in class lately, because when we look at how the universe was created itself, it was the masculine and the feminine explosion, basically, of the universal orgasm that became its identity. And so we still need both feminine and masculine energy, but what's been repressed for so long on the planet has been the divine feminine, hasn't it? And where that means for you guys is that you are going to be there side by side with us, watching and learning and downloading and remembering what it is to feel. I mean, look at how many men are stay-at-home dads now, right? And the women are going in and becoming CEOs, and you've seen this flip get switched the last couple of years anyway, so it's already in motion. And what it means for someone who's very, very masculine is you're going to go on a feeling journey. You're going to start feeling deeply. We're going to get you boxes of tissue. You're going to be like, what is this water dripping from my eyes? Because basically what it's going to do is it's going to activate the divine feminine within you, and it's going to help you create your reality, because that's what divine feminine is creation. And it is a lot in the solar plexus, or in the sacral energy, and the sacral energy is basically where we give birth to new ideas. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Think something that you think someone out in the collective might be thinking that I haven't already touched on today. What about questions about future? What's coming? What's going to happen globally? Like, nothing? Okay. Amber?
How is Trump going to serve his full 4 years?
Okay, well, right now I would say hell to the no. Okay? And the reason why is because the learning curve of flipping into this new parallel reality that we just moved into is not only going to speed up our power center, but it's going to speed up huge amounts of change, and he will not be able to hold the frequency of what's coming from the aftermath of the shift. So have you ever been around someone who you were maybe vibrating at the same frequency of, and all of a sudden you looked at them and they became a catalyst for change for you, and then all of a sudden you rose in your frequency and then you had nothing in common? That is exactly what's going to happen with this election. Is very soon what we're going to do is, as soon as we activate solar plexus and really move into divine power, then false power, right, is what he represents. We will no longer be a vibrational match with false power, because we will be real power that is connected to the heart center. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So as soon as that happens, something magical will manifest, and just watch and see. Yes?
You talk about the divine feminine, and a lot of the old civilizations and societies were matriarchal versus patriarchal. And that kind of stopped right around Christ.
Yep.
And then we've got this 2,000 years of this aggressive kind of patriarchal crapola.
Yep.
And so we're moving into this new age, and you see this trend towards decentralization and the erasure of national boundaries and people, being more self-sufficient, not relying on governments. I mean, this is kind of what we're talking about here, is it not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what he's saying is, before Christ, it was set up this way. It was matriarch, and it was working.
There was no wars. So.
We might, nitpick each other's outfit, but that's about it. Yes. Kara?
I have an outline question. I think he asked, what do we do if our partner isn't on the journey if they're still unconscious?
Good.
Yes.
Okay, so the question was, what do you do if your partner is not on the journey with you and is unconscious? Well, first and foremost, I'm going to do a little just frequency and vibration study. You couldn't be with that person if there wasn't a vibrational match. Okay, so there's somewhere that she's still vibrating into that frequency, or that would not be able to manifest within the use of physics. So there's got to be some underlying, and I will tell you where the underlying energy is because I can read it. It's obligation. What is the frequency of obligation? I just released a podcast called Letting Go of Obligation Without Guilt. I recommend it, especially for these situations, because as we accelerate, it's just like I said what's going to happen to Chump, is we are going to literally bypass the frequency so fast that we won't be a match. But in our case, we won't feel obligated to him, will we? And it's only the obligation that keeps you stuck in the frequency of feeling that you are unworthy, or that you need to be what someone else needs you to be because you love them. Now let's look at false power and false love. Because what has demonstrated in our collective is we have represented false power. And in relationships, we have represented false love. Because what is love without self-love? And would you ever be in a situation with anyone that was not the highest inspiration to you if you had absolute self-love? Would you settle ever? Or maybe you had your awakening in this relationship, which I'm feeling she probably did, and this relationship decided not to awaken in the same timeline as her, and now she's got to make a choice. Love my partner or love me. Okay? Now, all she needs is an intention. She doesn't need to pull the switch and get the divorce papers out and all of these things, because we don't change reality in 3D, which means we don't change physical in the physical. We go into the higher levels of consciousness where the solutions are in spirit, in non-physical reality, and we set a new intention. The intention is that I'm allowed to be completely free on my journey. I'm allowed to go as fast as I want to go spiritually. I'm allowed to be the biggest version of myself. I'm allowed to be authentic. I'm allowed to be transparent. And this is my intention. Let it go. And now she would go play and watch the universe reorganize her relationships so two things could happen. This person would decide that this relationship is not serving him, or he would rise to the challenge. But either way, as soon as an intention is set in non-physical reality and not forced in physical reality, the universe is always graceful. The universe is not going to teach her a big lesson if she follows the divine principles of manifestation, which is exactly what the book is about. Because if you follow divine principles of manifestation, and you honor yourself, and you dive into service, and you wait for inspired action, and you do your work in the imagination, which is I imagine my nation, then you never have to do anything in the physical. Which means all you do is you go up into your God form, you set a really strong intention, and then when you come back into physical reality, you watch, like the God and Goddess you are, the universe reorganize everything right in front of your eyes. I know you've all had that experience. This relationship is no different. There is no obligation in spirit. Spirit came to expand, 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 expand. It didn't come here for any of us to wait. Because what we do is when we wait, we dim our light. Or when we dim our light, our bodies get painful, we feel stuck, we feel blocked, we feel obligated. We don't feel like superheroes, do we? We feel like people who have a lot of information and can't have what they want. So the root of that relationship is deserving, is worthiness, is allowing herself to grow outside of what she created last month, last year. Is this helpful? Yes? Anything else? I've got time for like one or two more. Mary, come up here. Hot seat.
I had this really crazy dream that I was in the house that I grew up in, at the age I am now, and these men in suits were trying to get in, and there was no lock on the door, and I couldn't shut the door. And all of a sudden it got really bright, white, blinding light, and it was me and some other people, and I fell to the ground. And I was kind of half awake, half asleep, and I felt something on my back, like a twinge of pain. And so I wake up in my dream, and it's kind of like this smoky white, and these men are in my house working on all these other people. And then I go to the back door, and I open the back door, and we used to have a deck. There was no deck, there was grass and trees and aliens and spaceships. And I started weeping with relief.
Cool.
What's your take on that?
All right, so first and foremost, what is a dream? Okay, a dream is a message from your subconscious. So what is the subconscious? It is the mind below the surface. Okay, it is where all of your blind spots, your suppressive energy, your out of alignment, some of your greatness resides that you're not consciously focused on. Now, the conscious mind has between a 6 and 8 second attention span, so I've lost all of you thousands of times already. But what that means is that when you don't honor what you're really feeling, or don't really pay attention to your deep levels of emotion throughout the day, then when you are basically out of the way, which means your monkey mind is not thinking or you're consciously focused on something, that feeling will surface in the cellular structure and activate hormones and tell you a story about how you're really feeling. And so what a dream is it's a message from the subconscious. So my question for Mary is, how did you feel when you woke up?
Relieved, happy.
Relieved, happy. So maybe her subconscious mind was telling her that everything that is outside that's happening, that it's all going to be good. Which means seeing the craft and seeing the people work on it and seeing the bright lights. That was her subconscious message telling her that no matter what's happening on the outside, it's all good in the inside. Yes? All right, good.
So, okay, and this is kind of what you talked about just now, is one thing that I've really been realizing is there's nothing wrong, like embodying that. And so, I don't know, maybe expanding on that, because when we looked at the election, a lot of people went, oh, this is wrong. But what you're teaching us is?
Well, let's go back to polarity. Is there any wrong or right?
No.
So, there never has been. Because every wrong is a catalyst and every right is a catalyst. And so, everything I've been teaching since I started 7 years ago was every negative is a shortcut. So whatever you perceive as a negative is usually going to get you off your butt faster, right? Make a change. And so negatives are your shortcut back to love. And so there is no wrong or right, there is no black or white, there is nothing except a belief system that there is segregation and separation between us. And so what she felt intuitively was that everything's perfect, there's nothing wrong. And I know that this household felt like that, right? We just went on about normal because we knew whatever was going to happen, although if you listened to last Second Sunday, I did slip and give it away, that literally everything that's happened is a fast forward button. And we know that we all have this sense of urgency within us. Who has that right now? Who had that the day after the election? Just like this fire that was just like, I don't know what this is about, but I know I woke up and was like, doing all these projects that I had been waiting on for a really long time and just started getting done. And that was that catalyst for me. And so we know that change is the third law of creation, and change is inevitable, which means we're going to change, and we're going to change, and we're going to change. And it's very difficult for an ego to experience change because the ego is afraid of the unknown. And so where we're going right now, if we're activating our solar plexus, where can you imagine that we're going? When you activate that power center, I mean, how many of you guys have had stomach problems your whole life? Do you know what that's about? That's about you not being able to activate that power center within you. Okay? And what's going to happen collectively is the 100 monkey effect. Enough of us are going to activate, and it's going to have a ripple effect. And so as we all step back into our power, the timeline between where we actually move as a collective shortens and shortens and shortens and shortens. And right now I will tell you that your entire planet will look completely different in 18 months. Because of what happened last week. Okay? And so I'm not going to give it away exactly, but based on what we do individually shortens that timeline even more. And so how fast do you want heaven on earth? The change comes from you. Which means that when you look within and you see what's right and wrong within you, you're still in separation of yourself. The limitations that you judge yourself on, why you can't live the way you live, is exactly who you nominated for president. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's the judgment that you feel for yourself. Because judgment is ego. Absence of judgment is Christ-conscious, unconditional love. So which one do you choose? Today, do you leave in the me and say, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Or do you walk out of this room today as the I am and know that everything is perfectly divine down to even the age of this country? And being in the 7th-year cycle of this country, and being in the 9 of completion, and being in the self-discovery position of the 7-year cycle. And within 2 years, we will move into self-love as a collective. What do you think this planet is going to look like when everybody loves themselves? I want you to hold that as your intention. And say, if this is going to occur in the next 2 years, what can I contribute to that? How can I be a part of that? What ideas are brewing within me that can allow me to go and play as my role in activating self-love planetary in the next 2 years? Okay? That's what all your homework is to how can I be love, which is the only universal language that exists for the rest of your life. Okay?
So, eliminating worry, if there's nothing wrong, nothing ever to worry about, and then my next thought was, for those of us who have a fire ignited within us to go do something, I have learned recently that my movement has sped up so much through joy, and that actually, and so it would be joy and inspired action. So I'd love to hear.
Well, joy has always been your fast track. I mean, you cannot pick up a New Age book that doesn't say follow your bliss. But what does that actually mean? So what is the frequency of bliss? What is the frequency of excitement? The frequency of excitement is the frequency of higher self. Which means that bigger aspect of you that's completely unlimited, unbroken, and perfect. That is the frequency of where higher self resides. Higher self will never drop below excitement. And so if you're going to live a life of higher self, you have to be in joy or above. Okay? You cannot be in fear and grief and worry and activate the insane intuition that comes with higher self. Which is why whenever you spend time in joy, your life accelerates. Doesn't it? And why are we here? We're here for self-realization. We're only here to get to know all the different aspects of ourselves before we stop having this experience. And joy will get you to know yourself faster than any sort of pain. We can create and manifest through joy much faster than we can through pain. But pain has been the program that we've had to learn from, hasn't it? Which means the suffering and all of the pain and all that. We don't need that if we can stay in joy. Because when you're in joy and you're in the frequency of higher self and you are the I am, you're intending the universe, you become wealth, you become money, you become love, you become the partnership, you become the friendship, you become everything, and now you don't need to find it and earn it and learn it and all these things, which is basically third-dimensional construct. And that's never resonated with you. So if you can just become it, the state of being that you choose to be in is the reflection of your reality every moment by moment by moment by moment. Who are you being? Because the character that you're playing right now is the reality that you're seeing. And if you change that character and you move into the I am and you heal the me and you clean up the body, what happens is you rise into such a high frequency that everything looks divine and wonderful constantly no matter what happens. Right? And that's what you've been noticing. And she's been staying in just absolute joy, doing the things that feel good to her soul, dancing, singing, changing her definition of obligation as a parent and a friend. And as she does that, she focuses more of her obligation towards self-love. Then what happens is she naturally rises her frequency into a place where she becomes unbreakable, unstoppable, and the judgment is gone. Because think about it, when you're happy, do you judge anyone? Like you could be super thrilled and all of a sudden you see someone do something totally out of alignment. You're like, aw, this is adorable. Right? But when you're down there, you're like, how could they do that? Because you know what? You're seeing it and you're actually the same frequency. You're just in a judgmented frequency of it. So when you're in love, you see everything as grace. You see everything as the perfect thing that could possibly manifest in the moment. So, we will leave you guys with that today. How's this feel? Alright. Okay, so I want to thank you guys all for coming out and supporting us here at Transcendence. We have done a lot of growth in the last year, and we have brought Jonathan from Italy, who is helping us create our nonprofits, our One Foundation, that will be for global change in education. And we are starting a Conscious Kids community and education protocol that's going to be franchised out all over the planet so that a homeschool mom can take our curriculum and inject it into her home instead of having to open up a school. So what we want to do is we want to eliminate the middleman of having to go and get brick and mortar anything when all we need to do is realize the 7-year cycle. Because if a child can start the 7-year cycle in self-awareness and move into self-love at year 5 and self-mastery at age 7, do they need to pick up a textbook?
No.
Or do they just access the quantum field of possibilities and download how to be the surgeon and download how to play the music? Because that's who we are. So find where you are in your 7-year cycle and really work that year for yourself, okay? And really become the essence of where you are and honor your journey. Nothing is random, ever. Everything is so synchronistic and so in alignment with sacred geometry and astrology that if you actually looked at the universal charts of our collective right now, you would honestly laugh because basically it's all been predicted and it's already done. Okay? So, have a great Sunday.